a more competitive one. And you have a track record of growing jobs, not by the government's stead, but by creating an environment with regulation reform so that the private sector can work. People understand that we need that type of role model, that type of template in Washington now more than ever before in this economy and in this disastrous spending spree that we see the opposite side of the aisle being comfortable with at this time.
What is the most important issue facing the country?
Absolutely recovering this economy and putting the private sector back to work. We need to restore confidence by ensuring that the private sector, entrepreneurs, small business owners who grow over 80% of the jobs, by the way, understand that the government is not going to reach in, interfere, and cause havoc with the money system and with the business as usual politics that has been dubbed the ruling class in their lives. We have the ideas, we have the innovation in America now, just as we have throughout our history. The problem is that we have a government that is overextending itself into personal choices, business choices, and causing a sense of instability in what to expect from the American government at this time.
You would, at least according to press accounts, work to repeal the health care law on the books. Why?
60% of the so-called health care reform is deemed unconstitutional by most experts. And if you've been raised like I have, with parents who understood that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights protects American citizens from an over-intrusive government, then that gets your notice primarily. That and the fact that the bill was put together in the same types of business as usual circles that has been betraying the confidence of the American public. It was an insurance grab. It was not a cost reduction. It was not a free market restoration reform, and it will not deliver sustainable results for health care reforms in the ways that the American people so desperately need it.
Do you have any qualms about getting money from out of state from this group in Las Vegas that also supports a repeal of the health care law?
Absolutely not. The group that's centered in Nevada has supporters from throughout the United States, actually. And although the media has had fun in characterizing independent groups where private citizens are identified for their ideological preference, the fact of the matter is all of those contributors are individuals who step forward to say that the so-called health care reform bill is unconstitutional and must be replaced with free market incentives for cost controls and free market innovative ideas rather than negotiated power grabs negotiated by business as usual in Washington.
So free market initiatives will control health care costs. Some might wonder why the costs are so high to begin with now.
Well, let's talk about how the free market solved $25 million for about 2% of the state employees in Wisconsin. When I chaired a subcommittee my first term in the state legislature, my charge was to reduce health care costs for public sector employees because those health care costs were eating away more and more of their dollars. We put in the first competitive prescription drug purchasing pool in the state of Wisconsin back in 2002 and 2003. Politics prevented it from being passed in 2002. The sitting governor put it in play in 2003 and 2004 in order to resolve a budget gaffe. But despite using it to fill a hole somewhere else, it saved $25 million by just using transparency in the cost of prescription drugs. They use that model in senior care and other public health care choices, supporting and showing that we can save money when we use competition and open and competitive bids.
Terry McCormick is our guest candidate. She is a former state representative and is a Republican candidate for Congress in Wisconsin's 8th Congressional District. And we are welcoming your questions for her at 1-800-642-1234 or send an email to talk@wpr.org. You can also post a question on the Joy Cardine Show Facebook page. We are talking with the candidates running in the 8th Congressional District. We just heard from one of them, Ribble, in our last half hour, Terry McCormick in this half hour, and tomorrow, the third and final candidate running in the Republican primary in the 8th, Roger Roth, between 7:30 and 8 tomorrow. We are holding candidate forums with all candidates who are on the ballot, facing opposition in the primary on September the 14th, all of this month for statewide and federal offices. We will start a series during the 6 o'clock hour tomorrow and the next day, talking with candidates who are running for lieutenant governor. So we'll be doing this, as will Ben Marins be talking to candidates all month long who are running in the September 14th primary. Checking our weather forecast for today, it's going to be mostly sunny and mild, highs in the 70s and low 80s. Tonight, clear with lows in the 40s to low 60s. And tomorrow, mostly sunny and mild again with highs in the 70s. I'm Joy Cardine. This is the Ideas Network of Wisconsin Public Radio. You're listening to the Ideas Network. I'm Joy Cardine. It's about 12 minutes before 8 o'clock on this Monday, August the 16th. To your phone calls now for Terry McCormick, a Republican candidate for Congress in Wisconsin's 8th Congressional District. Jim in Shawano joins us first. Hi, Jim, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. Terry, the few times that I've traveled on Interstate 35 in Iowa, I've noticed hundreds and hundreds of windmills on both sides of the interstate. However, very rarely do I see one in Wisconsin. I've heard arguments that people feel they're noisy, they're ugly, they kill birds. I'm in favor of more and more windmills in Wisconsin. What is your position, Terry?
Windmills for a congressional candidate is very simple. This is a local and a state issue. Taxpayers and property owners need to step forward and let their voice be known as far as the placement of windmills. I certainly support alternative energy. Individuals can see my stance on alternative energy at www.mccormickforcongress.com. I believe we need to become energy independent, take a look at the subsidies, pull them back, and let the market pull in those choices for all of us. We all know that windmills is a very a small portion of the board of the energy boards that